Ep05. In previous episode, we actually already built the Hello client with its what you call that with the REST API. Now we're going to Dockerize it, and also we're going to introduce about Docker Compose. So actually, I've built this video before. That's why it's already been there. Now the problem is I forgot to. I don't know what happens. The video didn't work. So now let me just make this video explaining what is the resulting point here. Okay. So first of all, the hello client, we need to make it into Dockerize. So if you want to work along with this video, go to the description. There is a link to the GitHub starter branch, so you can pull that out and then start from there and build up as per what this video going to tell you. And there is also another link for the GitHub result where you can see the final result, which is what I'm showing now. And that, if you like this, please press like and subscribe. Now let's start. First of all, focus on the hello client. What we need to change here first is we need to provide the Docker file, which is basically an exact copy from the Docker file of the hello service, because both are just simply a Java application. So there you go, it's exactly a copy paste from the hello service. Then we need to prepare our pom.xml of the hello client with the plugins, which is this section of the build. This is the plugin for Spring repackage, so that the Spring can be a standalone jar and executable one. And in order to do that, we can copy it directly from the POM XML from hello service with one modification at the main class, because we need to make this the same with the hello client application here, because this is the entry point for the hello client. Once that's done, it means we are good to have a Docker files, Docker to be run in here. In order to do that, first of all, we need to do the building of the jar files, which is the mvn clean install Spring Boot repackage here, where Spring Boot repackage available after we have that in our pom.xml of the hello clients. Let's go to the hello client, and then we will do the repackaging. Other than that, let's meanwhile start our Docker of hello service here, which is this is the port, remember the previous episode, and this is the container, the image name. While it is starting, let's look at here. It's already finished packaging our jar file. Now we are going to build our hello client container image. There you go, Docker build. Notice the difference of the name here. Hello service was named hello app. This one named hello client. So while building the image, let's check if our hello service now is already running at port 8080. Later on, after it finished building the image, it's there. We will also run this. So now that it is running up, I'll prepare the browser for us to test. Okay, let's see again. It's still in the process of spinning up the hello client Spring application. Okay, it's almost finished. Now it's done. Let's test it out in the browser. Okay, so let's see. It's failed. Let's see why it's failed. Connection refused. So what we did just now is we spin separately hello client and hello server containers, and we tried to test it and it cannot communicate. This is why if you want to have a co-system of multiple containers and want to try it locally, you cannot just simply spin a Docker. You have to prepare a network for them to be together inside the network. And then means you need to run another command to prepare this network. In order to simplify all of it, that's where Docker Compose exists. So in order to have a Docker Compose, we will have a new module here, which you can start by creating new module here. Okay, and then for this purpose, I actually going to have it as a Python with virtual environment, and later on you just need to press create here. I already did this one, which is this. Okay, the reason why it is a separate package is because it is not belong to anybody else here. Docker Compose is composing everything that we have here, the client and the service. So it's not correct to put the Docker Compose file in the hello client nor in the hello service. The best is to just create a different one, this package, which the purpose is to help us preparing our local deployment. Why Python? Actually, you can put it as anything as long as it helps you to build some scripting in the future. Because in order for you to have a convenient local deployment, Docker Compose itself is not enough. There are some command line that you can actually just put into a script, so you don't need to call them one by one. But I will not do it in this episode. This episode will just focus on the Docker Compose. Okay, so let's see what is the Docker Compose. Before that, let me just shut down the Docker container that we spin up just now. This is basically in Mac, you just need to press Ctrl C to shut it down. That's actually work for any kind of command line in the terminals. Okay, so let's see our Docker Compose file. First, we need to define the version. Then this is the services. Well, we have two services. First is the hello service, which is our backend. Then instead of this, the build is basically pointing to where the Docker file of the hello service exists, which is one folder above this hello Docker composes. And then we will define the network, that it is inside the local network, which is defined here. What is our network? So the networks, we name it local. So you can name this one anything. Then we will use the driver bridge. Then the same with our Docker run. You can put the port mapping here, which is 8080 for our hello service. Then we define another service called hello client. Here the same, this is the location of the Docker file, one folder above, and we want to put those two inside the same network so that hello client can call hello service. Then for hello client, we expose the then map into port 8081. So later on with this mapping, we can contact it from our localhost browser 8081. Here is what is different with the hello service, that in hello client you need to define the hello dash service. This is basically this one. The point here why we need this links value is so that hello client can call hello service by DNS, which is in this case hello will be named as hello service, because now it is inside the same network but it does not as simple as in our localhost computer, where you can just use localhost as a placement to say that to call the other port, because it will be under a different IP inside the virtual network. So in order to simplify that, we use the link so that we can refer to hello service by the name. And in order to do that, of course, it means we need to change our hello client Spring configuration. We will leverage the profile naming config override. In here, this one is the environment variable to define the overriding file, and we name it Docker. What it means? It means that in the src main resources, we need to provide this new file, application-docker. So once the Spring detect that there is this environment variables value with the name Docker, it will use this file to be merged into the basic application.yaml. And the purpose of this file is actually to provide the new configuration for the gRPC, with the main change, the main difference is in this address value. Now, if you notice, compared to the basic one where it's using static localhost 8080, the Docker one using DNS colon triple slash. Remember this triple slash. Hello the service, which is the one we named in the Docker Compose. Remember this one? Okay. Then the rest is the same, colon 8080. So that is our Docker Compose. So now let's see with this Docker Compose whether we now still have connection reviews or we can test it per normal. To do that, I'll go to now. If you are following up with what I'm doing here, it means that you only add your application dash Docker just now. So you actually need to remember to repackage your Spring. So it means you need to run the maven command again. The maven command is this one. Remember to run this again for your hello client, because just now you changed the application, you add the application docker.yaml. If you didn't repackage this, of course your previous created jar wouldn't have the application docker, then you wouldn't have the DNS name correct, and then you cannot connect yet. Now we already have the up-to-date jar. This is also why you later on need to write a script, not only the Docker Compose. Okay, then we go to the Docker Compose source and we'll start the Docker Compose up. Maybe let me clean this up so it's easier for you to see. Okay, Docker Compose up, and then you can add the dash dash build flag. This is to make sure that in each Docker Compose you will recreate the image. Otherwise, it will just use whatever existing container that you already have in your Docker and spin it. So if you make any changes into the Docker file, it wouldn't pick it up. So in order to make it picking up any change you make in the Docker file, you need to have this dash dash build. It's including if you want to replace it with a new jar. It means you want to rebuild the container, right? If you have a new jar. So do this Docker compose up dash dash build. Of course, if it is the first time, you don't need the dash dash build. It will start by creating a whole new container image. So you can see here that it is starting to building the image for hello client and hello service, right? After it's building the image, later on we will see that it is creating the container. It should also have another message about the network later on. Let me check. I believe I did have. inside the Docker Compose about the network. Yeah, we did have. So you see two different colors of the spring there. One is for the hello service, one is for the hello client. You see how nice it is that both container is running from one command. It even makes sure it is building the network and attaching it together in the same network with one command. You can of course do all that we did here by running all the Docker command line, building your own network, attaching it, but of course it's tedious and it's harder to replicate it. So that's why Docker Compose is helpful. Now we can see both is already spin. Let's bring up our browser again to test. Now let's run this. Let's see if it is still in error or if it is now successfully rendering our successful welcome message, where hello service connecting to the hello client and then hello client connecting to hello service, and then it will reverting back. Let's see what's the error here. Is it another connection reviews? Deadline exceeded. So this is usually what happens if you just starting a service. Let's just replay this, then I'm pretty sure now it is successful. See? Because remember in our hello client we have a timeout there, so seems like my local host computer is pretty slow that it took 3 seconds to do gRPC call, which is amazing. Okay, so now it's already good. Let's retry again. Let's try some custom message. Everything works well. So there you go. That's about the Docker Compose and why you need it. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. Ciao. Bye.